Hello, welcome to Alive to Thrive OT. I'm Lauren Lyman.
And I'm Tracy Schnabel.
And today we're talking about 10 tips to improve your self-care. But before we get started, again, we just want to say we're two occupational therapists who noticed a gap in the healthcare system. We're here to do all the research for you, help bridge that gap, and make you more independent in claiming your health, taking care of yourself. So before we get started, we have a legal disclaimer. This podcast is for informational purposes only, so if you do have any specific medical concerns, please consult with your medical provider. We do not have any warranties or representations for any of the information provided, so please proceed at your own risk. And if this is a medical emergency, please call 911 immediately. So Tracy, let's talk about self-care.
Okay, so as occupational therapists, we help people with self-care. So I thought we should do a topic on self-care because a lot of people don't care about themselves. How weird. So I'm going to start off with the one that Lauren told me the other day, which sometimes not caring is caring. And do you want to talk about that?
Sure. So Tracy cares a lot about other people. And it's to the point where sometimes, sorry, is it okay if I talk about it? Sometimes it affects her personally and it hurts her ability to care for herself because she's so stressed about not being able to help other people or not having a large enough impact. So something that I've really come to terms with over the past couple years, especially being a mom, is, you do what you can for other people, and then there comes a point where you kind of just have to stop and say, okay, I did everything that I could, and I feel good about that. You probably don't agree with everything that we say on here, and that's fine, and I'm okay with that, because if I helped you in one aspect of your life, I'm happy. I'm okay with that. So, sometimes you have to find that balance between being so sensitive to other people's feelings and what they're doing with their life and whether or not you agree with it. If you're too sensitive with those things, it's really hard for you, because if you can't reach someone, then you take it personally, you get upset, and then you're not as motivated because you're like, oh, this person didn't believe me, or I couldn't help them, and it's really upsetting, and it's hard for you to proceed with your life goals and, your purpose in this world. Yeah. But if you take a step back and desensitize yourself a little bit, you can say, hey, I did everything I could, and I'm okay with that. And that's healthy for you. And a lot of people, it's called boundaries. A lot of people have a really hard time with those boundaries. I mean, we're talking to, some of you guys are strangers, we don't even know you. So it's like, sometimes that's easier for people when a stranger doesn't want to listen to you. But if it's like your friend or your family, you get really upset about it because you know what you want them to be doing. You want good things for them, and maybe they're not following your advice to improve their life, and then you take it personally, you're upset, and you make it your life mission to get them to listen to you, so you want to desensitize, but obviously not to the point where you don't care about anything, because then where's your motivation to help people then? So
yeah, I've seen that
especially people who want to help other people. It's really about finding that balance between others and yourself. You have to draw that line, because at the end of the day, your main duty is to take care of yourself, because if your cup isn't full, you can't pour from an empty cup. So
wow, that is, I think, the best tip I have out of all these tips. That's why I wanted to start off with it. Maybe I should have ended with it, because it's so great. I think a lot of us don't do it, and I think a lot of us don't get taught how to set healthy boundaries. So that's our first starting off tip. And number 2 is what we're always stressing is eating healthier. So a lot of us are on the go and we're eating like processed foods and things with like a lot of fat and a lot of preservatives and things that are not good for you. And so if you're putting, like, I like to do the car analogy, if you're putting bad gas into your car or if you're not putting any gas in your car, it's not going to run properly. So we kind of like expected my body just to keep going. I would even skip meals when I was really younger, and like I was so obsessed with like working and school and stuff that I would forget, and that's really bad because your body can't operate, like your brain can't think, and then what happens too is your body starts eating itself when when you don't have food, so it's literally like degrading itself. So it's so important to eat healthy if you expect to feel better and not have any disease or to improve disease.
Yeah, so food converts into energy. And obviously we need energy to do anything, to breathe, to walk, to get dressed, like day-to-day activities, and obviously to do things like exercise. But if you are not giving your body food, it's going to find another source of energy, which is going to be breaking down fat, which is why people do starve themselves, because they think, oh, I'll get skinnier. But then you're also breaking down like your muscle tissue and things that you need to be healthy and to be strong and to prevent pain, which is something we're going to talk about in another one of our podcasts.
Yeah. So, treat your body good by feeding it well. And then also another thing we talk about a lot too is mental health. So a lot of times people go to the doctor, they say, I'm feeling depressed. They write an antidepressant medication, but you should first look into like, do you have enough magnesium? Do you have enough vitamin D? Sometimes we've been saying that there's nutrient deficiencies, or just maybe you aren't eating like healthy because like we're saying, you're eating out all the time. Just see how you feel, for 28 days, 30 days, if you change your diet. That's what my naturopathic doctor did with me. He had like a do not eat and eat. And the do not eat was like things like sugars, processed foods, things that really slow your body down. So it's possible to change through diet. Number 3 is to get connected with your body right at the beginning of the day, which is something that I need to do. So sometimes what do? We get up, look at our phone, what's happening on Facebook, what's happening on Instagram, and then we like hurry up and like get dressed and ready and get to our like tasks. But that's not really like setting a good intention for your day, and it's not really activating your body very well. So a tip that I learned in one of my recent classes was like, start your day with movement, like either doing like a walk or yoga or whatever exercise you like, because then you're kind of integrating your mind with your body and your body with your mind right at the start of the day rather than going on autopilot. So it's a better way to start your day rather than just haphazardly like running out the door. So, which is what I used to do a lot.
Yeah, get out of that monotonous routine schedule. That's, to me, monotony is really depressing. It's like all of a sudden a month went by and you're like, geez, what did I even do last month? If you're just doing the same things every day. So try to connect with your body, connect with your mind, your spirit, do something a little out of the ordinary for yourself. And that's something that we mentioned in the 10 best ways to start your day. We have a podcast on 10 tips to improving health. And in a lot of our podcasts, we talk about find me time, do something for yourself. And it's really good to start the day that way, because how you start the day influences the rest of your day.
Yeah, I've heard that repeatedly. So start off the day on the right foot instead of the wrong one. And then the next one is self-awareness. So we also kind of touched on this. But I think as children, we don't learn a lot about our emotions. And so we don't notice the signs that we're having emotions. And then we carry our emotions. And then that results in pain, like we're going to talk about in another episode. But so like anger, what does anger look like? So for a lot of my patients with heart disease, I had like a handout that was like stress triggers or ways to identify pain in the body, because people are so disconnected from even knowing when they're angry that we have to go to physical, because people don't identify with emotional. So like physical signs is back pain. A lot of emotional stress is connected to back pain. And sometimes when you're angry a lot, you can have like this in your upper trap. I don't know if most people, I think, have these lumps. I get them sometimes. If you're and you're like holding back saying things, to people, or holding back, maybe like saying something to your boss about something. We just think that it's okay and it goes away, but it doesn't. It sits in your body and it causes physical pain. So that's why it's so important to like acknowledge it, and then either like find a way to resolve it, like, okay, I'm going to talk to this person about this, or okay, maybe I need to just take some deep breaths, or okay, just even like saying, okay, I know I'm angry right now, I'm feeling a little tense. Acknowledging
Don't stuff it.
So if you stuff it, you never even, if you don't know there's a problem or you don't see it, it's never going to change. So you got to just at least be able to say, okay, I see this.
There's actually a little walkthrough you can do. So first is eyebrows. If you're doing one of these, or something with your eyebrows where you're you're holding tension. That's either stress or anger. So the first one is eyebrows. The next one is your teeth. You're either clenching or grinding.
A lot of people.
So checking your jaw, I guess I should say, checking your jaw. Eyebrows, jaw, neck. Because again, we do that. We tense up our upper traps, which is what elevates our shoulders. So are your shoulders down? Are you relaxed? And then the next one, which a lot of people don't like to talk about, is your butt. Literally, are you clenching your butt? So that can be your glutes, like your actual butt, cheeks, or it can be like your butthole, your anus. So if you think about it, a lot of times, think about your positioning right now. Are you slightly pushing out, or are you in like a neutral position? Because a lot of people, because of chronic stress, are pushing out a little bit. And eventually that's going to affect your pelvic floor strength, your ability to hold in your urine.
What? I never heard that.
Your continence of stool. Yeah, it affects everything. So, and it's all muscular. So if you're constantly pushing that out a little bit, it's actually really bad for you. So kind of do your check. Eyebrows, jaw, neck, butt.
Wait, how do you know if you're pushing out your butt?
I mean, you can practice. I mean, suck all the way in. Try to, like, you're holding in your poop, I guess. Okay. And then, push out. And then you kind of find that middle ground where you should be. And throughout the day, notice, are you slightly pushing out? Because I bet you are.
Whoa, good information. Yeah. Thanks, Lauren. That's funny, but good to know. Now, sadness and an emotional program we teach the kids at the school I work at is they make them also identify it with like body states. So like sometimes, and I mean this is not always, but sometimes we say I feel sick when I'm sad, or sometimes you're more prone to get sick when you're more depressed or sad.
Or tummy ache, kids who have tummy aches.
My tummy hurts. So it's good to like identify the feeling behind that. Like, what happened? What's going on? How are you feeling? Sometimes you'll be tired all the time if you're experiencing sadness or depression. And sometimes you'll just be really sleepy. So it's just like things that just, start noticing like, oh, I'm really tired all the time. That's not normal. Maybe I should change something, or maybe I'm not happy about something. Because again, when you realize the metacognition awareness, then you could do something about it instead of just like being like, okay, on autopilot until something really goes bad where your organs shut down or a body part shuts down.
And we have a great podcast on social emotional learning. It is slightly directed towards kids, but if you never really learned it as a kid, it's beneficial for you as an adult too, because we model behavior to our kids, and obviously we want to be happy and healthy. So check out that podcast to really help you identify with your emotions instead of stuffing them, which is kind of what we're programmed to do in this society.
Yeah, completely. I'm taking a social emotional class that talks about how we're all trained just to stuff. And so it's all about just recognizing emotions and processing them and honoring them. Okay, and then another thing too is like recognizing anxiety. So sometimes that'll show up in the body too. Like sometimes I get that, so like shaking, like you'll start to literally shake, or gut problems, having problems with digestion that can be affecting related to each other, and headaches. People get headaches sometimes when they're chronically worrying about things. So again, in a lot of our shows, we talk about things you can do with these emotions as well. Like we just talked about using essential oils. Lavender relaxes you. So as long as you can be like, oh, my hands are shaking because I'm worried about something, it's not just isolated in and of itself, like, oh, that's weird. Okay, maybe that's just me. It empowers you to recognize and act.
Yeah, you want to address the underlying cause if you can. Some stressors, unfortunately, we can't avoid. So yeah, you want to do things like meditate, essential oils, something to counter those stressors. So check out our podcast on stress. We have some really great ones on stress and the immune system, and then different ones on essential oils, meditation, things like that.
And then too, when you recognize your emotions, you can respond instead of react. So for me personally, like sometimes like I will like stuff a lot of anger and things, and then I'll like, so like working on not doing that and talking to people in the moment and recognizing like my own anger, because that's not really good to do that either. You want to always respond and be in control of your emotions, but how could you be in control of your emotions if you're not even aware of them? And then another thing is developing a routine and a rhythm. So it's always good to, like, if you can, try to go to sleep at the same time. Maybe try to, like, do physical activity at the same time. I need to get back into this, but during the school year when we were going online, I had a certain time where I started walking right before lunch every day, and I felt 100% better, because we're at the computer, we're all like this all day long, which I think a lot of Americans probably are, people across the world working from home, and that's not the best for your body, for your shoulders, for your digestion, for your mental health. So just incorporate, physical exercise into your daily routine can really help. And then another recommendation I read once too is like, if you're married or, and you can do this right now, things are kind of weird, but like to try to schedule like a date night or try to schedule time together, because sometimes you can also, be working on the house and the kids and all these things, but it's important also to like schedule in like your relationship time, even if it's hard. So maybe it won't be every week, but maybe it'll be once a month or something.
Or going out with your friends or
something that improves your mental health and is scheduled, so that you don't get because there's so many tasks and things for us to do, for work, for our home, for your kids, for your parents, so it's important to schedule leisure time as well. That's a part of self-care. And then what we were talking about, number 6, is to meditate. So we have thousands, probably even more thoughts that go through our mind. Like people talk about the monkey mind, because it's just constantly going. So it's so foreign to us to meditate in the West, because we're so focused on doing. So, people are always about, oh, you want to know what I did today? I was so productive, and at work, it's like, what's your productivity? Is like the bottom line. So it's like, it's so counterintuitive that you're doing something by doing nothing, because even think about it, when you're dreaming, your mind is still active. So for you to be able to be quiet and like just sit and try to not have too many thoughts, or just to like observe your thoughts, can be really peaceful and restful, so that your body is not in a flight or fight state all the time. So, like if you think you got to be constantly going, your adrenaline's and going, and then you get cortisol increasing, and then you get inflammation. So it's really important just to stop for a while. And we talk about like the Calm app is like a way that could teach you to meditate. Progressive relaxation, where you just, Lauren has talked about this before, like think about like your feet and then your calves, and just like think about slowly relaxing each body part. Or you could just focus on your breath as an easy way to do it to start off. And you want to start off like maybe 5 minutes, 3 minutes, even 1 minute.
And for someone who's really stressed out and has a hard time relaxing, carries a lot of tension, this seems counterintuitive, but if you carry a lot of tension in your shoulders, and if I tell someone who does that to relax, they're like, I am relaxed. Yeah. So what you have them do is tense up even more and then let go. And then it forces that relaxation. So it seems kind of counterintuitive, but it actually works really well. So like clenching and then relaxing, it'll relax even more than if you just say like, relax. I'm trying. I can't,
Yeah,
it kind of forces your body to.
Oh yeah, kind of like the contract, relax idea too. Okay, that's cool. And then what is the other one? Oh, forgive yourself and forgive others. So sometimes we can like obsess about people and things and past situations and things people have done to hurt us and things that we don't like in the world. I don't know, it could go on and on and on. But when you have compassion for others and like start to think, like I had a situation where, I've had relationships before where I was like so mad at people. But then if you try to think about it like from their perspective, most people are doing the best that they can with what with where they're at. So if you can have compassion and understand that like they're likely just, doing what they can, and that they're probably suffering too, because hurt people. You can kind of sometimes we think of it like, oh, well, I'm letting that person off for doing this if I let go of that anger. But it's really like allowing yourself to let go, and it's allowing yourself to be able to move forward. So it's not for them, it's for you.
A lot of
you and them, actually. But.
Yeah, a lot of people think forgiveness is a gift to the other person, but it's really a gift to yourself. Because think about all of the anger that you're carrying, and how is that affecting you? You don't have to forget, and you don't have to excuse or allow it to continue. Kind of like what I was saying earlier, it's setting boundaries. So I will not allow this to continue, but I will forgive you for doing it this time, because that helps you move on. Because if you don't forgive, you're living in the past, and that's not any healthy way to live your life.
Yeah, and I had this journal, and it always said, never, on the front cover, it said, never a failure, always a lesson. So like you were saying, it could just be like, okay, that was terrible that happened. At the time, I didn't know to set that boundary, but because of that experience, I've learned to set boundaries, or I've learned to not accept things from certain relationships or people or whatever. So it could be healing. So that's important, because lack of forgiveness could really lead to like a lot of health problems if you hold on to those negative thought patterns. And number 8, fellowship. So like find your tribe. So it's important for me to be around Lauren, because we have similar goals. We have similar like thoughts about a lot of things, and it's almost therapeutic to be around people that have similar values and things as you do. So really try to be a part of either like a friendship circle or like a meditative group or anything that you're interested in. It could be a sewing group or whatever, whatever makes you happy. Try to be a part of a community that values the same things that you do. And beyond material things, like not just, these people like basketball and I like to play basketball, because what if they're very negative people? We've talked about this in other podcast episodes. The 5 people that you spend the most time with are going to have the biggest influence on your physical, mental health, your outlook, your cognition, everything. They affect your entire being. And if you notice, when you hang out with certain people, if you change your group of friends, you change a little bit. Yeah. Not your core, but maybe your attitude, the way you talk, the way you do things, you change a little bit. So who are the 5 people that you're closest to and you're allowing in your inner circle? And are they having a good influence on your life? If not, take a step back. Now, I'm not saying kick people out of your life, but again, self-care is about finding those boundaries and finding the balance between, helping others and helping yourself. So, just consider who you're letting in that inner circle, and maybe just try to add more positive people who are positively influencing your life. I heard a really good analogy, and I don't know if I'm going to say it right, but like all the things that people say to you, you think like it doesn't affect you, but like someone gave me an analogy where it's like deposits that are being made, like in your brain or whatever. So if you have like 1,000 negatives like deposited, how is that going to affect the way you pursue your dreams or the way you sit in yourself and how you live your life? And how you feel about things. So like the analogy was, if somebody started putting like trash in a room, like just pieces of garbage, like they didn't put it like in a garbage can, they just threw it in a room and then stuffed it like behind a couch, and they just left it there. Eventually it's gonna like stink up the whole room, and that's what happens. Energy is transferred. That's why we could feel something like negative sometimes when you walk into a room after people have been fighting. So you don't want to be absorbing all those negative energies, even if you're the most positive person. So that's why it's important to be really surrounded by like higher frequency and people that share similar values that you do. And number 9, we talked about this, is gratitude. So being thankful has been shown to improve mental health. So just like even like having a journal and incorporating things that you're grateful for, or thanking people that have helped you, or even thinking about at the end of the day, what are all the things I'm thankful for? I know in Petra was doing like a meditation video, and she was saying, you know, in the United States, we don't realize how lucky we are. Like, if you have a home, if you have food, you know, if you have family that are around you, like, you're in water that's clean to drink, like, you're doing better than 70% of the rest of the world. Like, so many people are in poverty, and sometimes we become, what is that called? Not want to say ungrateful, but like, we don't really appreciate things because we don't really realize what we have.
Well, when you focus, I think we're taught to compare to other people because the goal is to get that promotion, to get the best grade, to, you know, to do the best, do better than your neighbor, you know, keep up with the Joneses. The grass is greener on the other side. That's how we kind of were taught to view life. But if you view it as, wow, this is what I have, this is what I'm thankful for, and stop comparing yourself to everybody else, because when you're comparing yourself, one, it makes you more competitive, it kind of makes you a little bit of a jerk, but it's more depressing, because if you don't have what other people have, then you get upset rather than focusing on what's good in your life. And again, the material, we focus so much on materialistic things, money, car, house, blah, 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 blah. None of that matters if you don't have love, if you don't have loyalty, friendship. That's what really matters. So start your journal, say your prayers at night, whatever you do it, you know, and around Thanksgiving, they say to write on a pumpkin every day in November, write one thing that you're grateful for. And I'm like, we should be doing that every day. And then on Thanksgiving, you go and you read it. But have a thankful jar. Maybe at the end of the year, that could be like your New Year's tradition. You go through your jar, and maybe every day or every week you had something that you were thankful for. And it's like a reflection of everything good in your life.
I love that idea.
So shift your focus. You know, your health depends on what you focus on.
Yeah, your whole life goes where you focus. So if you focus on the negative, you'll draw a negative. If you focus on the positive, you'll draw on the positive. So have gratitude, dude. And number 10 is rest. So again, this goes back to like constantly being, you know, like the Energizer bunny. And so like I'm a Christian, but even if you're not a Christian, I read, you know, on the seventh day was to rest, was told to rest. And I didn't think much about it till I got older and I never rested. And how valuable is it to rest? Like, it was saying, like, even, like, you should have food prepared if you can, like, for that seventh day. And, like, literally don't even make food that day. Because when we're quiet, we can connect, you know, whether you believe in the spirit, like God, or you can even connect with your own soul and self. So you can't connect with that if you're constantly going. So that's why it's important to take one day a week if you can, or try to just, you know, take it easy at least on the seventh day or on one of the days, so that you can rest and rejuvenate yourself.
And it doesn't have to be, rest doesn't have to be, you know, a lot of people think laying on the couch and watching TV, you know. I know during football season, it's like, oh, Sunday's my day where I just sit on the couch and, you know, watch football, whatever.
Yeah.
You can be, rest can be different for different people. I mean, it can be meditating, it can be, I guess, you know, watching TV, but it can also be just like sitting down with friends or family and just talking. That's restful, and that's rejuvenating and rewarding.
Yeah, or like reading, or like doing a hobby. One of my friends likes to knit as a hobby. Just like doing something for you. So that sums up our 10 tips for self-care. Thank you for joining us. We hope that this has helped you in some way.
So please like our video, share it with other people so we can help everyone take care of themselves, because again, you can't pour from an empty cup. So helping others help themselves helps society. So share our video, subscribe to our channel, sign up for alerts so you know when we post new videos. Visit us at Facebook, www.facebook.com/Lauren and Tracy. And if you have any questions, if you want to work on detoxifying your life emotionally, physically, chemically, work on helping your environment, please email us at alive2thriveot@gmail.com. If you need any help with essential oils, questions, podcast ideas, anything, send us an email.
Okay, and that's it. We're just wishing you physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being. Thanks for being here, and be the change you want to see in the world. Bye, guys.